To be honest, this V-shaped rally is still the most reviled of them all. It goes without saying that has a great deal to do with falling stock prices in a precipitous slump that continued into April. It is unpleasant for anyone to be sitting on stock. It is true that a significant number of people sold their holdings at the lows. Nonetheless, we are aware that a decisive low is reached any time the VIX is higher than 60 and lower than 30. To tell you the truth, I believe that we have been climbing a wall of concern. I mean, a lot of people anticipated that tariffs and conflicts, as well as the disagreement between the Federal Reserve and the President, would really shake up the markets. That being said, there has been a certain amount of volatility. However, I believe that these are the kind of bull markets that are the most resilient in the long run, okay? The fact that the market continues to recover despite all of that turmoil is, a very clear indication of something. In the video that we are going to see today, both Tom Lee and Cathie Wood have some really important issues to discuss. I would want to begin by providing you with a significant portion of what Tom Lee has stated in his most recent interview. This is due to the fact that he discusses a significant amount of the most recent data that has been presented by the government, the Federal Reserve, and inflation statistics, among other occurrences. In addition, I believe that this is going to be a significant factor in the choice that the Federal Reserve will make in the next few months. Furthermore, this will without a doubt be of great assistance in easing monetary policy. The thing that we are seeking for is exactly this. You guys will know better than anybody else that when the money printing begins, cryptocurrency begins to go extremely just wild, right? If you were around during the last bull run, you will know something better than anyone else. As a result, I believe that this is going to be the situation that we are going to be witnessing pretty soon here. To the contrary, Tom Lee does a great job of dissecting this and providing us with a bird's eye view of how this seems. Consequently, I would want to play it very quickly, and then we will proceed to discuss some further information on Cathie Wood in just a little while. To ensure that this video is viewed by all members of the XRP army, please click the like button and then we can begin. Still the most reviled rally in the shape of a V, and of course it has a great deal to do with the time when stock prices began in a precipitous downturn that continued into April. There is no one who enjoys being a stockholder. At the lows, a great number of people decided to liquidate their holdings. We are aware, however, that a crucial low has been reached if the VIX is higher than 60 and lower than 30, as this is the case. Because of this, visibility has improved. That being said, tariffs aren't nearly as awful as we had anticipated. Furthermore, the impact of inflation has been somewhat limited in reality. In addition, outside of tariffs, it is important to note that inflation is really far lower than what many anticipated. In addition, I feel that the Federal Reserve is, even if they are presently holding, the bond market does not believe it. Taking a look at the 2-year, they believe that the Federal Reserve is 2 percentage points behind. Now that the 10-year yield has dropped to 42, this indicates that the Federal Reserve may be more dovish in the coming year, which is a positive development for the stock market. If you could explain how we have this enormous and wonderful package, which people are claiming would add $3.3 trillion to our debt and everything else, and yet you are looking at the 10-year coming down, I would much appreciate it. Indeed, it demonstrates that markets do not see the sustainability of the United States debt as being only related to its budget, mainly due to the fact that I believe that the United States balance sheet has a great deal of hidden wealth, ranging from natural resources to buildings that they own, to the fact that the value of gold is underestimated. When people complain that the United States is unable to find buyers for its treasuries, in a sense, the United States is really seeking purchasers. Coins that are stable are going to be used due to the fact that this is a transitory scenario. Stable coins are going to take the place of any foreign holder of treasuries, as in, after you reach a certain degree of proficiency in something, you will find yourself living in a different universe. Indeed, it is dependent. To clarify, the current value of stable coins is $250 billion. The entire amount of dollars that are now in circulation is close to $10 trillion if you are following up. Therefore, stable currencies have the potential to develop. Many transactions with stable currencies take place outside of the United States. Therefore, in a world where coins are stable, the dominance of the dollar may really be considerably higher. To be sure, it is. But you know, the most important thing is that it is at 4.2% for the next 10 years. It seems to me that the bond visualities are for the most part accurate. The United States of America ought not to be operating with a deficit of this magnitude. Nevertheless, for whatever reason, we have not yet reached the levels where the viability of our debt is in question. You continue to look at your year-end aim as being at 6,600. Where do you still reside? Since we closed on Friday, this represents an increase of almost 8%. It's true. That is the reason, in my opinion, why people do not believe there is further potential upside. In light of the fact that the market's price-to-earnings ratio has the potential to increase significantly, I believe that there is potential for an increase to 6,600. Already we had 5 unexpected events. There was the shock of COVID, the shock of the supply chain, the shock of inflation, the quickest rate rises in the history of the Federal Reserve, and then there was the shock of the tariff. So 5 jolts packed into 5 years. It's true. Also, earnings continue to increase. If this were a company, we would say something like, look, if you tried to kill it 5 times and it still grew earnings, we would put a much higher multiple on it. This is because stock prices tend to increase with time. Because I believe that what Tom Lee is stating here is of the utmost importance, I would want to delve a little bit more into it to better understand it. Do you agree? In essence, what we are discussing is the fact that he is essentially stating that the S&P can expand by 8% from where it is now located. Furthermore, in earlier historical examples where the S&P has been able to expand to that degree, we have witnessed Bitcoin's price increase by 50%, perhaps even more throughout those same periods of time. Is that correct? It should come as no surprise that the stock market is far more stable and reliable than the cryptocurrency market. The market capitalization is significantly higher. There are a great deal more individuals interested, a great deal more people trading, and all of that lovely things. It's not so much the cryptocurrency market. The industry is still seeing tremendous expansion. And so, yeah, I do believe that if this does occur, what Tom Lee is saying, we have the S&P go up 8%, go to 6,600. And as he was indicating, we are going to have Bitcoin likely reach $150,000 per coin, and perhaps even go higher to $175. This is true. Once you take into consideration all of the previous instances in which something like this has occurred, it becomes abundantly evident that this is a plausible option. Furthermore, if Bitcoin reaches a price of $175, the value of XRP may reach $20 per coin. Because in past cases when the price of Bitcoin has virtually increased by 50% or more, the price of XRP has increased by around 10 times more, right? 5 times when Bitcoin's price drops by 50%. Exactly. Yes, I do believe that there is a great deal of potential for XRP, AHR, and other alternative cryptocurrencies. In addition, Cathie Wood has some things to say on this topic as well, which I believe should be brought to the notice of your people. In addition to this, she has a very distinctive point of view, and she is also paying a great deal of attention to the actions that the Federal Reserve is taking in this area, which I believe you all ought to be aware of, and I will explain this in further detail after we have finished. However, let's go on to the following year and hear what Cathie Wood has to say. To be honest, I believe that we have been grappling with a mountain of anxiety. I mean, a lot of people anticipated that tariffs and wars would be implemented, in addition to the conflict that has arisen between the Federal Reserve and the President, in order to really shake up the markets. That being said, there has been a certain amount of volatility. Nevertheless, these are the sorts of bull markets that I believe are the most resilient when the market continues to advance despite all of that turmoil. Actually, it is sending a message about something. I believe that the things that it is indicating are that interest rates are probably going to be decreasing in the near future. To add insult to injury, I believe that the housing numbers are the aspect of the inflation data that the majority of people are not paying attention to, and they arrive there with a significant amount of delay. We are of the opinion that the shift or focus towards a very small number of equities, which was a highly unhealthy bull market, was the cause of the current situation. Indeed, that is undergoing a transformation, and the market is expanding in scope. In addition, I believe that deregulatory policies are perhaps one of the most significant things that this government is doing in order to free the spirits of animals. 1000%. To clarify, I am referring to the deregulation that is now taking place in the cryptocurrency market. And this is exactly what is taking place with the Genius Act. Stablecoins are experiencing this phenomenon at the moment. As you are aware, it is absolutely incredible to witness the kind of development that is being accomplished in such a short amount of time. I do believe that by virtue of all of the stable currencies that are going to be purchased like hotcakes, and of course all of the big collaborations that XRP and other large cryptocurrency firms will be able to make, there will be a lot of demand for blockchain technology. Do you agree that we are about to see an era of rapid expansion? And I am very certain that this is going to take place because of what took place in the year 2021.